9 minutes to the top of the hour. The country's skills shortages in critical sectors remain an obstacle to growth. And a 2017 critical skills survey done by Xpatweb shows that 77% of the participants struggled to recruit critically skilled individuals locally. Although the participants indicated that they could find the skills internationally, 90% found that the process of recruiting internationally to be prohibiting. And to talk to us more is Marisa Jacobs, who is the head of Immigration and Mobility at Xpatweb, and she says that the country should follow the international example of importing the skills until you have the skills. Marisa, thank you so much for your time.
Good morning. Thank you.
So talk to me why this example works, importing the skills until you have the skills. How does it work in other countries, and how does a country like South Africa benefit?
So South Africa has identified through the critical skills list all those skills that there's a shortage of in South Africa. So the list has about 200 occupations on it, ranging from engineers to healthcare professionals to tradesmen, senior executives, etc. So those are typically the occupations that local companies struggle to fill. And through recruiting internationally and making use of the critical skills work visa, they can bring those skills into South Africa, and also through things like the intercompany transfer visa, where companies transfer skills from their foreign offices to their local offices in conjunction with the skills transfer plan to transfer those skills then to the local employees.
I understand that this list that you mentioned, where they detail the critical sectors where skills are needed, hasn't changed since 2014. Is it the process of work visas that takes too long? What is the issue in being able to expedite things so that you guys are able to find the best people to work in the companies that need the skills, and then they can eventually transfer the skills to, local workers?
Yes, so the list hasn't been updated since 2014, but they're currently working on it now, and they are updating it as the market changes, so do the need for different skills change. So they're updating it at the moment, and then the process seems very daunting for someone who hasn't gone through it yet, and they also there's a lot of bad press around Department of Home Affairs and long queues and etc. etc. But if you take it on, it's not as bad as it seems. So at the moment, it takes about 4 weeks on average to sort of gather the documentation that you need, and then roughly a further 4 weeks for the embassies or the department to process the application. So you're looking at about 8 weeks from identifying a candidate to being able to bring that candidate in a practical way.
I remember a couple of years ago attending an MBA conference, and one of the things they mentioned is that you have a lot of people who are from South Africa or any other part of the continent going to other countries to get really great MBAs from awesome institutions. But what happens is that they end up being attracted to the opportunities on the other side, and hence, the continent was going through something what was described as the brain drain, so to speak. Is that something that you're seeing as well in a country like South Africa, where you have talented engineers or doctors looking for opportunities elsewhere as opposed to South Africa?
It's definitely an issue. The brain drain, it's the buzzword at the moment, and we're losing lots of skills, and we're also losing lots of our own graduates who then don't enter the job market in South Africa, but they go abroad and enter the job market there. So it is an issue. The white paper published by Department of Home Affairs last year seeks to address this with a new suggestion where they want locals to register if they are going to be leaving the country for 3 months or more. And we suspect it's to keep better track of our skills and to try and entice them to come back to the country at a later point. So there is, the department is aware of it, and they are trying to put some measures in place to attract those skills back.
You mentioned that the companies that are in need of ICT specialists, which I found it quite fascinating, have found that the skills they need are in India, whilst companies in mining have been successful in attracting talent from Australia. What other trends are you picking up?
Those are the two major trends. ICT, definitely from India. We see that across many sectors where they are bringing in lots of people. There's also lots of Chinese investors in South Africa, so you'll see lots of big Chinese companies opening branches in South Africa, and then they would, as part of that, bring some senior management to South Africa to sort of set it up, and also bring some of their skills where they find there's a shortage in the local market. Chinese investors are also investing into mines in South Africa, and then definitely from Australia and also from other African countries, bringing in lots of skills. The majority of our skills are still coming from Africa.
All right.
If you look at the statistics, yes.
All right, Marisa, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That's Marisa Jacobs, who's the head of immigration at Xpatweb.